Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Chalk Talk here in the DK Pittsburgh Sports Steelers YouTube channel. We are going through Aaron Rodgers' 2024 season, have been going through it. I urge you to watch this back whenever you can because this has been an interesting watch for sure. But we are almost done. Week 15 here, Jets at Jaguars. The Jets snap a losing streak here. They actually win to improve to 4-10 on the season. So that just goes to show how bad it's been. Aaron Rodgers, though, was borderline phenomenal in this game. Wasn't perfect, but, man, the good outweighed the bad by a big margin. 16 of 30, so not a high percentage, but I'll explain why here in a minute. 16 of 30 for 289 yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks. That's a passer rating of 120, ESPN QBR of 81.9, so really high mark there. PFF was almost as generous with their grade. They gave him an 84.8 grade with an 80.4 passing grade, but also a 73.8 rushing grade, and you'll see why. This was a really good game for Rodgers overall when it comes to, this is the best he's looked physically. And normally that doesn't happen, midway through December, which is when this game was. Typically, especially older quarterbacks, the season, everything, it's wear and tear on the season. If anything, he was getting stronger as the season was going. And it really showed in this game. And I believe right here off of the first play, we get that. Very first drop back. Pump fakes there, is looking for something else over the middle, possibly looking for Garrett Wilson coming across here. Doesn't like it either way. And then he just takes off and gets him some yards. Okay, not bad. Rather do that than force something if you don't like it. But Aaron Rodgers in this game literally led the team in rushing. He had 6 carries, and these were not designed runs. 6 carries for 45 yards. That's an average of 7.5 yards per carry. The team rushed 23 times for 125 yards, which is pretty good. But again, Breece Hall was 9 carries for 30, which is 3.3 yards a carry. Isaiah Davis, 5 carries for 24 yards, 4.8. Okay, that's pretty good. Ashton Davis had 1 carry for 21 yards. That's always good. But then Braylon Allen, 2 carries for 5 yards. The running backs, like Hall and Davis and Allen, those guys who have been consistently there, they didn't do well. The rushing primarily literally, Rodgers led the team in rushing. And you'll see at least one more. I think I have at least one more in here of him rushing. But again, it's that willingness. We've been seeing this over the past couple of weeks, that willingness to, okay, I don't like what I'm seeing. He probably could throw this right there. There's enough separation. If he puts that out in front of Wilson, that could be completed. Probably would rather see that than tuck and run. I was critical of Kenny Pickett with that kind of stuff, and so I'm going to be critical of it here. He could probably make that throw. But especially because it does look like he's looking at him. It looks like he at least goes to him. Maybe he's not. Maybe he's looking further out for whoever's out there. But either way, I'd like to see him try to get that to Wilson, put that way out in front, let Wilson try to make a play. But if you're not confident in your ability to throw that football, I would much rather get the yardage that you need, and get yourself to, third manageable, whatever it is. Live to fight another down, that whole mantra. Next play. Let's see. We got Lazard moving in motion. We're doing play action fake here. Let's see. Oh, yeah. We got Garrett Wilson right there. He's running this really deep out right here. And again, when we've seen this kind of timing stuff, it's all about Wilson's timing, Rodgers' timing, everything like that, the way Wilson gets out of his breaks. This one's pretty easy. Wilson's already getting out of his break. Rodgers flips his hips, plants his foot, puts all the cleats in the ground, and just throws that and throws it right on the money to Wilson. This is a really good good play here. I mean, good design. You get play action. You get a lot of Jaguars to move over to this side of the field, which is what you always want to do. But Jaguars ran a lot of man coverage in this game, which is, I think, one of the reasons why Rodgers was able to pick up so many yards, and you'll see why. But Jaguars were very committed to man coverage in this game, and that's one of the reasons why, because I can't get all the clips in here just for time's sake, but one of the reasons why the completion percentage was so low in this game was there were a lot of instances in which Rodgers would try to improvise a little bit and make a throw, and all the receivers are just staying downfield, not coming back to the quarterback. And so then at that point, he's just heaving it. And, sometimes it's kind of close, but it's not complete. Sometimes he thinks the receiver is going to keep going downfield, so he heaves it way downfield and the receiver stops running, so it's incomplete. Just a number of different things, and that's one of the reasons why the completion percentage was low. It wasn't a whole bunch of drops. One for sure, another one, and I have both the drop and the other one that not probably technically a drop, but still I'd like to see it be caught. But this one right here, really good job for Wilson getting open, for Rodgers. It's just well-executed play. It's nothing over. Again, we're not breaking new ground here with a new concept or anything. This is just, again, a typical 3-level concept, and Wilson gets open, and, the right play is made. Next play here. Let's see. We got the tight end moving in motion. The Jets also used a good bit of motion in this game too, which I think helped quite a bit with identifying man coverage in this, because, again, when you see the tight end move in motion and you don't see anybody trail or like follow him along, that typically means it's not going to be man coverage, and this is not. This was zone right here. Rodgers here, this is a phenomenal job. Remember last week when Davante Adams was trying to win on the outside, and this was the number one read, and Garrett Wilson went screaming down the middle of the field, wide open, and Rodgers never looked back? Well, the Jets probably saw that on tape and being like, okay, well, if we run into a similar situation, Rodgers is going to be like, all right, if Davante ain't open, I don't care what the actual read is, I'm going to Garrett, and I'm going to see what's going on. So here we go. We got this little slant here that Adams is running. It's not open, so Rodgers looks back. When that happens, that moves the safety over to that side of the field because you don't want to get beat by Davante Adams, and he ended up tearing them a new one in this game. He had 9 catches for 198 yards and 2 touchdowns in this game. So yeah, they wanted to make sure he didn't shred them, and he did anyway. But what that ended up doing was that ended up freeing up Garrett Wilson to run down the middle of the field wide open again, and the Jets don't make the same mistake twice. Last week they made that mistake. Rodgers made that mistake. They don't make it again. Rodgers, bam, touchdown. Easy peasy. That's exactly what you want to see football teams do. Improve upon their mistakes. Last week they really missed a big-time play by Rodgers not looking to find Garrett. However, whatever the reason was, they fixed it, and that's what you want to see. And again, you can see the safety right here. When Rodgers looks over to the left to Adams, that to me, that's usually not the posture of trying to look off a safety. This is, I want to throw it there, and I'm not going to because it's not open. But what that ended up doing is that got the safety to move this way. So then Rodgers can go back, find Garrett Wilson. He's wide open, easy touchdown. I mean, easy stuff. And again, good to see the team identify their mistake and fix it in the very next game. Next play here. Let's see what we got. Rodgers dropping back. We're trying to make something happen here. Again, we got man coverage. You got this one-on-one. You could go over the top, but this is pretty well covered. This is pretty well covered. This is pretty well covered. The check down here is going to end up being covered right here. So Rodgers, this is third down, by the way. This is third and about 5. And so Rodgers is being like, all right, well, we got to move the chains. So I'm going to fake. And again, we see Rodgers doing more physical. And this isn't just taking off and running. This is taking off and running and then not just trying to avoid contact, but willing to take on contact to be able to move the chains. And if you can see it right here, that was a face mask. So not only does Rodgers get enough yardage, he picked up 7 yards on this carry, but there's also 15 more tacked on top of that because of the face mask. So Rodgers does a great job of, improvising and moving. And again, this is not stuff we saw earlier in the season. Rodgers, getting back again, you probably like to see, possibly hitting Wilson here, but he's not looking that direction. He's looking over here, so he doesn't see Wilson get clear. Even then, it's pretty tight coverage. It's not wide open. It's pretty well covered across the board, as we saw. So Rodgers surveys. While he does that, he steps up in the pocket. Pretty decent protection. I've been really hard on the Jets' offensive line throughout the season, but we got pretty decent protection here. Of course, you don't want to ever see an offensive lineman go to the ground, but at least if he goes to the ground, you bring another guy with him. But either way, pretty decent protection. Not the greatest, but he does step up to avoid the pressure. And then, again, we see him be willing to not only take off and run, but, he tries to throw a stiff arm and everything and gets the face mask to go with it. But even without the face mask, picks up 7 when they needed 5 on third down with his legs. 41-year-old quarterback. Again, this whole idea that Rodgers is a statue, that's the word that kind of, to me, is like, yeah, that's not fair. Because I think of quarterback as a statue, I think of 2021 Ben Roethlisberger. Like, that's what I think of. Like, completely immobile, not able to move anymore, just doesn't. And that's not Rodgers. You don't have 6 carries for 45 yards in any game at all if you're completely immobile, completely a statue. That was not the case in this game. This right here, I believe, is the one drop. This ends up being, again, really good anticipation. Rodgers starts his throwing motion right there. Adams is his target. He's not even out of his break. He gets out of his break. The ball's already coming out. It's right on the money. It's got to be caught, and it's not. It's just unfortunate. And that's Davante Adams. Again, you can't get too mad. The guy ended up having 9 catches for 198 yards and 2 touchdowns. You're not going to get overly mad. But again, at the same time, Rodgers makes a good pass. It gets dropped. But again, I've seen some people be like, "Oh, Rodgers doesn't. He's lost it with the anticipation. He's not." It's BS, man. Come on. You can't watch this. Again, it's back foot, and the ball immediately starts to, the throwing motion immediately starts. The quick release is right there. There's that patented sidearm type throw, low 3/4 throw, and it's right on the money. This is perfect anticipation. It's a perfect throw. It's right on the money, and it just gets dropped. There's no contact there, and this is, again, their best receiver. And, yeah, it happens sometimes. And sometimes the receiver does everything right and the quarterback misses. It's just part of football. You just want to minimize those mistakes, obviously. Next play, we get Adams moving in motion. Go to a 1-by-3. And let's see. Back foot hits. Where are we looking? We're looking to Garrett Wilson right here. I'd really like to see this to Adams. Because holy shnikes, this gets wide open. And with Rodgers, you get kind of this out while he's running that slant. That slant ends up being wide open. And again, with the Jaguars running so much man coverage, and if you're going to blitz with it, this is all wide open. It's just all wide open. Remember this for later. Rodgers probably also needs to throw, if you are going to throw this to Garrett Wilson, you got to be able to throw this with better anticipation and also not throw this off the back foot like that. You got to be able to step into it. Little hard. I mean, the pressure is like right there. It's right up against him. It's hard to step into that. And this is where Rodgers, I think, where you talk about the arm is still there. It's also not quite what it was 10 years ago. You know what I mean? Like, not quite. It's still a really, really live arm. But it's not quite. And that's where I think Rodgers is like, I still think I can do that. But either way, it's late. It's also not the right decision. This kind of stuff still happens every now and then. Again, a quarterback's not going to be perfect. I'm not going to sit here and be like, every single time Rodgers does something that isn't perfect, I'm going to be like, see, Aaron Rodgers can't do that. No, it's overall body of work in the game. And this kind of stuff, this is probably one of his worst plays of the game in terms of it's a late throw. It's not the right decision. You know, you'd like to see better, but again, the good in this game far outweighed the bad. And also, when a team can learn from their mistakes, and in this particular instance, you will find out in a little bit that they learned from their mistakes in this game, this mistake right here. Adams moves in motion. Rodgers sees the defense, breaks it down. Jaguars are rushing. They're rushing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You got the guy covering, so you got a 5-man rush. You got nobody over the middle of the field. So, again, that's why I'd like to see, Adams here get hit. If he gets hit, it's going to be a huge gain. And the thing is, I think he even looks at Adams here and decides not to. I don't know why. I don't know if he's actually looking at Adams or not, but either way, he throws this to Wilson. This ball could be further out. It could be, again, a little earlier. But, yeah, it's just, again, no quarterback is going to be perfect in a game. This is not a good rep from Rodgers. It was a late throw. It was a little behind him. It gets incomplete. All right, so remember what we've been talking about. How are you going to find out how they learn from their mistakes? Well, again, we got a single high safety. It looks like we're going to have man coverage across the board here. That's what it looks like we're going to have, right? Okay. So Rodgers is doing all this work. I mean, seriously, all this communication ahead, getting the offense in the right spot. Okay. Let's look at who's got who. Okay. Man. We got man coverage. It's everywhere. We even now have one guy over the middle, but he has no depth whatsoever. So Rodgers learns from the mistake and bam, hits Davante Adams on that slant over the middle and huge gain. Again, this is what you want to see. You want to see, and the fact that this happens, I think this happened on the same series. Either way, if it happens in the same quarter and the quarterback comes back and says, I know what I'm seeing. We missed this stuff. Not going to miss it again. We're going to take advantage of it. They're living in man coverage right now. We're going to take advantage of it. And that's exactly what happens here. And again, all this communication ahead of the snap. This is Rodgers. This is where the experience comes in. And when we talk about getting things set up pre-snap, nobody in the game was ever as good as Peyton Manning. He is the GOAT when it comes to getting the offense ready before the snap, seeing things before the snap, getting the offense ready, and being able to attack the defense. Rodgers, though, is still one of the best to do this ever. And that's where the experience comes in. And again, just it's getting everybody ready. Jaguars are rushing only 4 this time. So instead of like this guy rushing this time, he kind of stays. And maybe at this point, they're like, we're not going to let Rodgers take off. So maybe he's kind of spying the quarterback while, this guy gets the running back. The problem with that is that because you're not getting any depth to take anything away over the middle, which, by the way, is, I believe it's called cover one hole, because they're definitely in cover one here. You only got one deep safety. It's man coverage down low. And instead of blitzing, you have one guy who you would normally drop back, but you can also have him spy the quarterback. And with the way Rodgers has picked up yardage with his legs in this game, it's understandable. I mean, was this third down? I'm trying to remember. Yeah, this is third down. So again, Rodgers has already picked up one. It's third and medium. We got 3rd and 5 here. So you don't want him to pick this up with his legs. So again, this is what quarterback mobility can do for you. I would count that as a spy. Watching the quarterback, again, when you don't get any depth, you're definitely watching to make sure that he doesn't take off and run. But when that happens, you have nothing over the middle. Bam, right on the money, big gain, get inside the 10. And then that ends up leading to a touchdown. And this is just, again, this is nothing to break down here. This is just put it up, let your player make a play, touchdown. Easy, easy, easy. Put enough air under it. Give him a chance. Can you imagine Rodgers doing this with DK Metcalf? I can. Next play here. Let's see, what down are we? 2nd and long. So we got 2nd and 14. Yeah, ball on the 10. They got to get to the 24. Yeah. So 2nd and 14. Jaguars are now running. No, this is still man. We got man coverage, but it looks like we've got cover 2. Cover 2 man. Again, we talked about this last week, or like the last week's game. We talked about this yesterday. Yesterday's Chalk Talk. I mean, you're going to run cover 2 man against Aaron Rodgers. He can still take advantage of it. This time, though, he takes advantage of it with his legs because, again, it's the mobility. He's definitely doing things physically he wasn't doing earlier in the season. He's getting stronger. He's able to kind of sidestep pressure here, scooch up, and then, again, everybody's in man coverage. Everybody's in man. It's all man down here. That means this guy's back is turned to the quarterback. This guy's back is turned to the quarterback. This guy's back isn't turned to the quarterback, but he's completely focused on his guy. And so now Rodgers has this entire space to go and just get something. And he gets a whole 18 yards. There you go. Doesn't like what he sees. Again, we got a 4-man rush here. Would like to see him try to maybe do a little bit more inside the pocket. But again, with the way this offensive line has protected him throughout the year, it's understandable for him to be a little skittish. But now, again, he's a little bit more mobile than he was earlier in the season. He's able to avoid it, and he goes up and gets it. 18 yards. And we even get the little point right there. Right there. A little point. First down on 2nd and 14. All right, next play. Ball on the Jacksonville 30. I think we're in the 4th quarter here now. Oh, this is the other one. This isn't a drop, but I want to see this ball caught. Lazard is just running, attacking the seam here. Jacksonville, again, we're going cover 2 man. I don't understand. Like, this could absolutely be exploited here. Rodgers puts a pretty good pass. This could probably be just a little bit more downfield, like maybe a little bit more air and a little more over the top. That might be the way to go. But that ball still gets in there. I want to see that a little bit more secured because then the defensive back is able to get in there and swat it out. I want to see that ball caught. Now, again, it's not a pinpoint like dime, but it's a catchable ball. It's still a pretty good throw. And again, it's back foot. The ball comes out. He knows what he wants. And again, when I see this, I want to see like old school catching it with your, like you're taught to not catch it with your chest, but this is one of those times where, yeah, you got to catch it with your chest. Don't let this guy knock the ball out, and he does. I just want to see that caught. That I understand it's not. This does technically need to be a forced incompletion and not a drop. I get that. It's still something where you're just like, ugh. And again, I'm thinking about like whenever I played football, I played receiver, and like for this, like if I were Alan Lazard there, I'd be hard on myself. I'd be like, I needed to catch that football. Like that's on me. That's not on the quarterback. You gave me a ball that's right there on the numbers. Not perfect throw, but absolutely catchable. You got to catch it, in my opinion. All right. Next play, getting closer to the end here. Probably one of the best throws of the season for Rodgers. Move the guy in motion. Go to a 1x3. This time the Jaguars aren't in cover 2 man. They are in cover 2. This does look like straight up cover 2 here. This doesn't quite look like Tampa, but this probably could be Tampa. With how deep he is, actually, this probably could be Tampa too. Especially because once Adams attacks this, he runs with him. So, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and classify this as Tampa 2. It doesn't matter. Adams has the speed to run past him, and Rodgers puts a dime on him. And then it's a touchdown. 71 yards. Easy. I mean, we're talking like when you run Tampa 2, if your guy can't take away the middle of the field, and you will absolutely take Davante Adams on number 33 every single time. Every single time you will take that. Yeah, Adams is just attacking straight up the middle of the field, splitting the safeties, and we get just right on the money. I mean, this is a perfect throw. Touchdown. Again, like DK Metcalf did this stuff for the Seahawks, and Geno Smith put that stuff on him. You think Rodgers can't do the same thing? Again, like, yeah. All right, next play. This is later in the game, by the way. The Jets, like, they were down, and they ended up scoring. They only scored 7 points in the first half. They scored 25 in the second half. That's exploding. And so this is later in the game. This is fourth quarter, and I think at this point the Jets were. Let me pull this up real quick. I believe the Jets at this point it was a tied game, and they were just trying to. So this is 3rd and 10 inside 2 minutes. And Rodgers just, again, Jaguars are going to live in man coverage. There's no safety over the top. Adams is cooking. I'm just going to put it up, let him make a play. And again, this is why you're going to see from this angle here, this is a heck of a catch. This is also a really good throw. And you're going to see why people like Aaron Rodgers, quarterbacks like Aaron Rodgers, put so much emphasis on that red line we've talked about previously. Because when you have any extra space between here and the sideline, when you have that extra space, you can use it. And so what Rodgers does with this throw is he places it outside so that the defender can't get it, but the receiver can adjust to it and make the catch like that. Now, it takes a supremely good receiver, like a receiver with supremely good body control to make a catch like this, which Davante Adams has. And this is where, like, Steelers fans would be like, oh, this is where we're going to miss George Pickens because he can make these catches too. Well, DK Metcalf is also a physical freak, and he can make these type of catches too. So, yeah, it's really, really important to have that extra room so that you can make these type of throws and let your receivers however they want to. Some guys will, like, jump and turn and catch it. Either way, Rodgers uses that extra space to the outside so to keep it away from the defender. And then, again, Adams makes a phenomenal catch. This is not easy at all. This is a great, great catch. But also a good throw from Rodgers. Again, this looks like, oh, it's too far outside. No, it's using that extra space to the outside so that the defender cannot make a play on it. Next play, again, this is like we're inside. It's 2-minute drill. We get Rodgers communicating ahead of the snap. Back foot hits, running mesh underneath. And this time the Jaguars are in zone. But this time, not only are they in zone, but this guy gets confused. I don't know if it's like, hey, we're running so much man coverage. I don't know. But this guy clearly needed to pass him off and then go back out here because that leaves Davante Adams wide open. And so Rodgers identifies it quickly, And again, this is not easy to do when you're trying to move and you're on the run and you're running mesh and you possibly are expecting man coverage, and then you see zone and you see this cluster right here. That likely means that somebody didn't do their job, and the guy who is running this drag right here is going to be open. And that's exactly what happens. Adams is wide open. Rodgers finds him. There is now nobody around him, and he just zoomed down the field to the 1-yard line. And the game is tied at this point, by the way. It's 25-25. Jets have the ball inside 2 minutes, and you have that kind of a blown coverage. And for Rodgers to identify it, again, this is simple. You're running mesh at this point, so you got this guy running a drag. You get this guy running a drag here. And if it's man coverage, you're hoping that one of these guys here is going to pick either him or him. But if it's zone, that means at this point, this guy is supposed to pass that guy off to him, and then this guy is supposed to pass this guy off to him. And they just stay where they are. You see 33 do that. 33 stops, and then he comes back over here. But you don't see... Oh, wait, hold on. Wait, no. 33 went way too far. Or 33 thought they were in zone, and this really is man. Actually, yeah, this is man. They're running man, and I think this guy thought it was zone. Had to have, because you got man, you got man. Yeah, we got man coverage in this. This isn't zone. So, yeah, you can't just leave Davante Adams wide open, because I think what Rodgers then identifies, now that I'm looking at it from this angle, is that he sees, oh, there's man here, there's man here. Well, this guy, now you got a third guy there. That means that guy shouldn't be there. So he looks back to Adams and finds him. That's actually really good stuff. It's cool to see it that way, actually. That's why the end zone view can do so much more than the sideline view can. But yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. I mean, again, Rodgers, this is probably one of his, I don't know if I want to say it's his best game of the season, but it's definitely up there. Again, just the good in this game far outweighed the bad. It wasn't perfect. There were some misses that I didn't put in here too. I'm not trying to put when we put every single drop back, these videos were really, really long. This video is still really long, but yeah, really good game from Rodgers here. They deserve the win. You put up 32 points, and Rodgers was a big reason why. When you are able to throw for 289 yards, and again, it's not just, hey, your guys are making plays. This is making some really good throws. And then you're also able to then lead the team in rushing with 45 yards on the ground without that being designed. You just go and pick that up on your own. It's a good game. And didn't put the ball in danger, didn't throw any interceptions, didn't put the ball on the ground with any fumbles, and didn't have any turnover-worthy plays. PFF gave him credit for 2 big-time throws, no turnover-worthy plays. So, yeah, this is a good game. Rodgers is getting better. I mean, last 3 weeks we've seen improvement. That clunker against the Colts a few games ago was pretty bad. And since that game, now the bye week was right after that Colts game, and the 3 games since, it's gotten better and better each week. We'll see about next week. They play the Rams. I have watched some of the tape from that game already, but I'm going to go back through it again. I do know that Rodgers' best throw of the season, and I don't think it'll ever be topped, is in that game. So we'll see. We'll see about the overall performance when we come back from the weekend. But until then, I hope you guys have a good one. Be back on Monday to continue to go through Aaron Rodgers' 2024 season with the Jets. Catch you on the flippity flip. See you later.